something went amiss with the video, but never mind. We'll see it again sometime.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so this is another edition of Mellow Musings. Mellow Musings, these are fortnightly sessions that we have online. And sometimes we have them weekly also. It depends on how we feel and whether we have the right kind of speakers. And well, all depends on the demand and supply of all our scholars.
Yeah.
What is Mellow? Mellow is a society that we formed way back in 1997. So it is 28 years old now. And in these 28 years, we've held a lot of conferences. We meet regularly. We have brought in a number of people. And at any given time, the membership is about 1,000. They are kind of floating, some go out, some come back, and after 2 years, they come back again. And every year, we have a new crop of scholars coming in. We have built some credibility because our conferences are of a high order. We have deadlines which are met, they're very strictly followed. And even the quality, the standards, we try and uphold them. We have a prize for the younger scholars. They compete, and there's a special prize given to one scholar who presents the most outstanding paper in our conference. We have invited lectures, and we keep doing something or the other. We've been doing it for the last 28 years. And this year, January onward, we thought we must have online sessions also because, well, people seem to enjoy it. So these online sessions are primarily on literature, but sometimes on other subjects also. Anything because we are living in an age that is interdisciplinary. So we've had a session on artificial intelligence. We've had a session on step wells,
Yeah.
Bowleys. I mean, they're so interesting and they would fire the imagination of anyone who's interested in literature. So we've had such sessions also. And then for the last 1 month, we have been thinking about Sunita Williams. And even when she was stuck in space, when we used to get news of Sunita Williams unable to come down and she's stuck there, she went for a week and she's stuck there for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And once I asked Aradhika, because I know Aradhika, I did not know Shesh then, but I know Aradhika had written a book on Sunita Williams. So I asked her to give me some news of Sunita Williams. What do you know? What's the latest? And she says, well, just what I've read in the papers. So she didn't know much either. But then recently when there was news of her coming down, then I bumped into Radhika in Chandigarh and I said, hey, why don't you do a session on Sunita Williams now that she's heading back to Earth? And well, she said yes. And then she put me in touch with Captain Sheshadri. And here we are. We are going to be talking about Sunita Williams. So I think all of us are interested in the subject. And let me introduce you to the speakers formally. Aradhika. Aradhika, you can see her on the screen now. Now, she has been a prolific writer for, why do you say has been? She is a prolific writer. She's been one, yes, for 3 decades, and she's contributed a diverse array of contents, including articles, book reviews, lifestyle, and travel stories for leading newspapers. She produced the children's newspaper School Tribune for almost a decade. She's a very versatile person. She's been writing scripts for radio shows, and serving as an online agony aunt. So that is when I first heard about her, that she's the agony aunt, but she doesn't seem to be in agony. I remember saying that when I saw her. Okay, so she served as an online agony aunt also. And she's contributed a popular weekly column for the Tribune called The Girls at Gupshup. And in collaboration with Captain Sheshadri, Radhika has co-authored the bestseller Sunita Williams' Astronaut Extraordinaire. Rupa brought it out in 2007. So that time we had just heard about Sunita Williams, but she wasn't the star that she is
Correct.
now, literally, or almost. And this has been translated into multiple languages such as Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Tamil, Malayalam and Telugu. And Aradhika and Captain Sheshadri have also collaborated in contributing one-liners to the Tribune. You must tell us what these one-liners are. And yes, Dear Agony Aunt, that also I told you. She brought it out in a book form, a non-fictional work based on her experiences writing as an Agony Aunt column for the newspaper. And she's written and edited several personal biographies. I'm sure she's been ghostwriting also.
Yes.
Personal biographies. And currently, Aradhika works as a senior manager in a multinational company overseeing corporate real estate services and contributes to the company's projects. She's been contributing for several years. And we have Captain Sheshadri. Captain Sheshadri is a business management graduate. Now he's in the army, and I have a special bond with both of them because they are both. Aradhika is an artillery brat, and so am I. Dad was in the artillery, and Captain Sheshadri is from the artillery. So he is also a business management graduate from the University of Mysore. He served in the Regiment of Artillery, Indian Armed Force. He's worked in middle and senior management levels in Blue Star and Oneida. And currently he mentors an established firm in the HVAC business in Chennai University. State, national level sportsman, cricket, swimming, baseball, avid golfer, marathoner, former professional percussionist and vocalist. Now this gives me an idea. We must have you play some music and sing for us sometime, huh? And I hope you'll be willing to do that. Basketball, yes, I've said that. He edits publications for a Bengaluru-based company, Raintree Media. He's a visiting faculty for personality development sessions in NIFT, Chennai, president of Madras Gymkhana Club, which is a 140-year-old club in Chennai. So that is Shesh for you. That is Sheshadri for you. Captain Sheshadri, thank you so much for being with us today. And Aradhika, thank you very much for agreeing to join us. And we have Akhila Sheshadri too. Akhila, ma'am, will you introduce yourself in a couple of sentences? Unmute.
I don't have this long bio that he has or Aradhika has. Hi, Babu.
Hi.
I'm a school teacher. I've been teaching in a school for over 33 years now. I love music. I like reading. And
Wonderful.
yeah, that's it. I love theater.
Co-host has muted me, huh? All right. So we have Captain Sheshadri and Aradhika today, and they'll be talking about Sunita Williams. Yes, Sunita Williams. And I must also tell you something about Aradhika, which she hasn't said, and she didn't put it in her bio. But I was just telling her before we went online that she is one of the best moderators, best stage managers, best, what should I say, in Chandigarh. I'm saying Chandigarh, so I'm not going over the top.
Oh, thank you for that at least.
But if you have to compare her with other...
Yes, fantastic human being.
Oh, please
Yes.
stop. This is about Sunita Williams, okay?
Yeah,
Right.
but she's great. And as I was telling you a little while
Pleasure.
ago, you give
So
her
much
the
pleasure.
grabbest person to moderate, and she'll put life in that person,
Why
and
not?
it'll turn out to be a scintillating session. So
No,
thank you,
it's the other
Radhika.
way around. Thank you so much, Manju. Thank you for inviting us. It's really, really kind of you. And yeah, one can never say no to Manju. If she says you are like, do it, so yeah, fine, of course we'll do it. Like there's no two ways about it. Of course, it is considered done as far as Manju is concerned. So yeah. So yeah, we can start with the session if you see.
So we have this session between, we have this conversation between Sheshadri and Radhika. I'm going to switch off my video now. And the others also may keep their videos switched off, but keep listening in and keep putting your questions and your suggestions in the chat box. Towards the end, we'll switch on our videos. We'll all come onto the screen and we'll try and engage these two speakers in some discussion. And I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting one. All right, over to you, Radhika
Thank you.
and Shesh.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Manju. Thank you. So, you know how it is like when you when there's like a famous person, everybody wants to be connected to that person. But I do have to claim that we did have a connection, or we still probably feel that we have a connection to Sunita Williams, who is a truly inspiring figure with a wealth of achievements and experiences. She's a naval aviator. She was a naval aviator. She started with being a naval aviator, a helicopter pilot, later a test pilot, a professional naval driver, a swimmer, a charity fundraiser, an animal lover, a marathon runner, an astronaut, and a world record holder. Please tell me if I missed anything, Shesh, out of this.
Not
So,
really.
no. So right now she's a veteran of three space missions, and her latest unexpectedly extended mission in space alongside Butch Wilmore has only solidified her status as a heroic and iconic figure. So, yeah.
It's very surprising that she was sent up to space for an 8-day session starting on June 5th, 2024. And who would have expected that Barry and Suni would be staying there for 9 months almost in space? And that takes for a lot of courage, something beyond human, to be there and to live there, do what they need to do in their daily lives. And 9 months is a really long time to be anywhere, confined in a small space, no gravity, eating the same food out of tin cans. I'm just wondering what they must have gone through, what psychological and physiological problems they must have encountered and how they overcame them. And ultimately, I think finally they came down on the SpaceX capsule almost 9 months later, commanded by Nick Hague and Alex Godmanoff. Safe landings, back to our routine now. But what a fantastic lady.
So actually, it reminds me of that film, that we saw. I mean, I saw it ages back. It was called The Martian. I don't know whether you saw it, Shesh, or, people must have seen it because it was directed by Ridley Scott and it was starring Matt Damon. And it was actually, 2015, I think, was when it was released, which depicted an astronaut struggle to survive on Mars. And then NASA's attempts to bring him back. And he does come back 7 months later. And at that time, it seemed like, my God, what a science. I mean, it was a great film and very inspirational and all that stuff. But it seemed like it was complete science fiction. And I never in my life imagined that, one would, experience, you could say experience in a way, something like that ourselves. And I think we kind of felt more connected because we had, delved so deeply into her life when we were writing her book. Although I think after that, I got a little disconnected after we finished with the book and then she carried on with her life and stuff. But this time but one was following her space sojourns when she was going out and all of that. But this time was really, like 2 months and 3 months and 4 months. And then there was that feeling from time to time, like, is she going to come back? Like, is it going to happen or not? I think many people did question that as well. Don't you think so? That did happen from time to time, right? Would she come back or would she not? Yeah, so her journey to be becoming an astronaut has been a really long and strenuous one, but it's been incredibly rewarding. So, would you like to talk about her? I remember, when we were writing the book, she used to say, or her mother used to say that she used to go like so much swimming that her hair was constantly wet. She always had wet hair because she was swimming so much, hours and hours of swimming. So, but anyway, would you like to talk about her record? She's held these multiple records, like so many impressive ones. So, yeah.
We all have been hearing about records in space and air. 608 days, like it's 608 days of total space time, extravehicular activity of umpteen number of hours. Is it going somewhere? But there's a lot of stuff that she did as a youngster, as a teenager, as a girl who people don't know about. And like Aradhika was talking about her hair always being wet from swimming. So this girl, when she was about 11 years old, wanted to swim the Boston Marathon swim in the Atlantic Ocean. And ice cold waters, jellyfish, braving choppy Atlantic seas. She completed that with her brother in almost the same time. An amazing feat. That was about her stint in water. And once she wanted to run the Boston Marathon, which, she was a teenager, and she wasn't in the right attire, and she didn't have any communication. So no cell phones those days, obviously. So Bonnie gave her a 10-cent coin and said, if you get into trouble, just go to a payphone and call me. So this girl very intelligently put that 10-cent piece into a shoe, between her socks and her shoes, and started running. Little realizing that in a few miles down, there'll be a blister there. So finally she had to take off. She didn't stop. She just took off her shoes, put the 10-cent into a sock, and kept running and finished the marathon in about 5 hours. An amazing kind of, the stoicism, the endurance that she has, the brain, the way her brain works to push barriers is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I was saying that, Bonnie's push and Bonnie's influence had something to do with that. For all her children, she set very high standards for them as well as for herself. And she was the one who kind of drove them. They themselves, of course, were genetically, I think, like that. But other than that, she really drove them towards excellence and achievement, Bonnie herself.
She had a lot of encouragement from her parents and from her siblings also. In fact, there was one incident when she had gone for a swim meet. And then, so they came back and Bonnie asked her, so what happened? She said, I won a few medals. She'd won, I think, 11 medals in the meet.
Right.
It was very, very casual about it, nothing,
Right.
no big deal, no big feat, no boasting.
So anyway, I'm very excited to talk. Nobody's talking about her records, but I really want to talk about them because they're so exciting. So I'm just going to quickly, spell out a few. So basically, she participated in multiple missions, including Expedition 14/7, 32/33, and 71/72, whatever that means, by the way. So she's completed 62 hours and 6 minutes of total spacewalk time over the course of her career, the most by any woman astronaut, and 4th on NASA's all-time list. And then she's now logged the second most time spent in space by a US astronaut with 608 days over her 3 flights. And then during her latest mission, Starliner and SpaceX, she spent 286 days in space, more than the average of 6 months. Boston Marathoner in under 5 years, that you've already said, as a teenager with a 10-cent coin in a shoe. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah. So the swim meet, by the way, she got 5 medals, not 11.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, let's talk about the book. So,
Yeah.
I have to start up how we started writing the book was that, so the offer to write the book was came about in 2007 when she had gone aboard the Atlantis. And then our friend Rupinder Singh, he was the assistant editor of the Tribune at that time. He called me and he said that there's a book you have to write, so you write it. So I said, okay, sure, I'll write it. Cool, because I never say no. He said, what is the book about? So it is about Sunita Williams. So incidentally, I'd kind of been reading about her a little bit, but not too much. And the other thing is that you have to complete it in 3 months. Did we have 3 months to complete it?
Yeah, just about. Because she was to come back in April. This was January, and she was to come back to Earth in April.
So yeah, so 3 months. So you have to complete it in 3 months. So I said, fine. Now, the thing is that I did not know much about space or astronauts or anything. I only knew about Kavita Chawla, and I knew a little bit about Sunita Williams. I knew there was something called ISRO and a little bit about that NASA existed, and that's about it. So I did a little bit of, like, can I do it? Should I do it? Can I do it? So he said, maybe the thing is that you are doing it, so just do it. And he put the phone down. The minute he put the phone down, I did nothing else. I just picked up the phone and called Shesh. And I said, hey, Shesh, you know what? Hi, guess what? We are doing a book. So he said, oh, we are doing a book. Okay. And then it was the same thing again. Like, okay, but he was like more sanguine and tranquil about it than I was. And then that's it. That's how we started. He said, "Acha karna kya hai?" So we said, well, we have to write about the book. We have to complete it in 3 months, and it has to go into publication when she, just before she arrives or just after she comes back to Earth. And Rupa people had commissioned this book, so we started. And of course, then we went to the source, which is Google. And, at that time, there was very little that we could find about her. We couldn't find, so there was just that much on Google. Then we went to the NASA website. We tried to find stuff, that whatever we could find, we found. Just, we channeled whatever sources we could. But Yeah, I think we could just barely about come up with 5. We tried our best. We got some pictures here, there. We even wrote to NASA and things, but we managed a material of about 5 chapters. You know, Shesh, it was about 5 chapters. Maybe how many? About 15,000 words, maybe at that time, right? And with our first draft, and then that whole breakthrough came, and then you want to talk about the breakthrough.
Yeah, so there was this call from Aradhika saying, we've got to do this book. I said, so please ask them if we can do it together. So she got back a day later and said, yes, they're okay with it. So fine. So I was very gung-ho about it, saying, oh, wow, we're going to write a book together. I just go to Google, Google Bhagwan and, pray and all the information will rain down on us and we put it all together. But that just wasn't what happened. Google, NASA, PRO, publications, we went everywhere and everywhere we had the same clips of information about what she did, where she went, space and back, and nothing about her personal life, no tidbits, no nothing. So finally, we were about, reached the point we say, oh, now what are we going to do? Luckily for us, there was a little hitch about the ISS, and she had to postpone her landing by about a month and a half, which would probably give us time till May or end of May. We still didn't have any sources.
Yeah.
Luckily, thanks to Rupinder, whom she mentioned earlier, Rupi had a colleague whom he had worked with in the New York Times in Boston. And through him, he called a friend who called another friend, and somehow they got the mail ID of Dr. Deepak Pandya. So I said a huge breakthrough. So I immediately shot out a mail to Dr. Deepak saying, sir, we are writing a book about your daughter and we want all the information that you can give us. Just waiting. I said, tomorrow morning he's going to tell me everything about her.
Yeah, that was a long wait. Yeah.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Information.
And you know what? I came
mail.
across, I'm just going to interrupt it. So when I was like scanning the emails and all to look for, whatever we had done at that time, I came across an email from the editor of our book, and she's saying really, okay, when is the material coming? Like, when is it coming? Because it has to land up here by the 3rd of May. We have to, no, by the, I don't know, something 30th of April or something.
23rd of
We
April
have
was
to
the
go
time.
into publication. Yeah. And the material, and it's like, yeah, we're working on it. And then finally, I think he had gone on chutti or something. You wrote to his official email ID, something like that,
I
right?
sent him the second mail after 15 days. Said, sir, please help us. We're desperate.
We begged.
Third mail after 3 weeks. And finally, one day in the morning, I opened my mail and saw this letter from Dr. Deepak saying, I'm so happy that someone is writing a biography of my daughter.
Relief.
I have been away on a research in some remote areas where I didn't have connectivity. I couldn't get back to you. But I have talked to my wife, Bonnie, and my daughter, Dina. Here are the mail IDs and the contact numbers. They know what you want. Please get in touch with them and they will give you all the material that you need. So I immediately shot out a mail to both of them saying, please help us with whatever information you have. 1 week, no news, getting a little desperate.
Editor getting madder and madder. Yeah.
And so finally, one morning, I opened mail and I levitated because there were 102 photographs and 36 pages of manuscript on the entire life of Sunita Williams from the time she was born, 1 year old, pictures, whom she liked, what she liked, her friends, her family, her school, her classmates, her space, her career. Everything was there, little jumbled up here and there, obviously, but then it was all there for us and we celebrated. We drank a toast that night.
We did. I drank 8 toasts. Shesh drank many, many toasts. So, yeah.
So, well, we got all the information and then it was like, how do we go about this thing? How do we put the whole thing together?
Yeah.
Make it interesting. So there was, the typical chronological order. You start from, year 1, what she did, in year 5, what she did, in year 15, what she did, and so on. That would be boring. So we kind of scratched our heads and wondered what to do. And we were talking to each other. Aradhika and I were talking to each other, and we found that there's so many aspects about her. We were talking earlier about her swimming, so there was water, about her flying, being a naval aviator, there was the air, and there was running and cycling. So we kind of said, why don't we separate these chapters into space, air, water, earth.
By the elements. So we did
the elements, basically.
Yeah.
And then put all her activities, her interests together in each of these chapters.
Yeah.
So then we said, let's divide these chapters. You do something and I'll do something. Then we exchange notes and we'll put it all together. So that's what finally happened.
Yeah, that was really, very, very. So, do you want to talk about her career a little bit? Like, how she started and how she made it as an astronaut?
So she wanted to be a veterinarian. She's very fond of animals.
Yeah.
But that was not to be. And because of her activities, like as we talked about all her physical activities, so she finally joined, and her brother being an aviator himself, so she was motivated to join the flying. So she went to the Naval Academy as a flyer, and then she wanted to fly jets, but those days there was not very much encouragement for women to fly jet aircraft. So she got into helicopters. And of course, alongside that, she did diving. She became a qualified diver and diving instructor. And one day she was attended a lecture by an astronaut called John Young, who had landed on the moon. And he mentioned in that lecture that he was a helicopter pilot. That drove her to think, if this gentleman could be a helicopter pilot and become an astronaut and go to space, why not me? And that kind of pushed her into qualifying for an astronaut.
Yeah. So that's what it was. And I think she logged about 2,300 hours in over 30 different aircrafts, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Something like that.
She gained all the experience that she could get.
Yeah.
It
So,
also being a swimmer and with all that endurance behind her, I think that definitely would have helped her in being chosen or selected for a space mission.
yeah. So, so now, so she, although she wasn't born in India, but she has like this really deep Indian connection. I think she was born in the US only. And she still maintains a very strong connection with her Indian roots. And she's visited India many times, many times. And do you want to talk about her background and her Indian connection, her roots, and her Slovak background as well?
I think a lot to do with it was Dr. Deepak Pandya's grounding in India. He was a very staunch, patriotic Indian, though he went abroad to study and settled there finally. There's some very interesting facets to his personality. I had the opportunity to speak to him and chat with him on mail on several occasions. And I found that he came from a very, very humble background in the village called Jaunpur, one of those places in Gujarat. And he lost his father at the age of 2 and was brought up with his mother and his uncle. They ingrained a very strong sense of Indianism in him. Later, he went to a very local school, and one day he saw the Swayam Sevaks, chanting and doing their drill. He was very impressed by that and decided to join the RSS. So at that time, it was a very dangerous thing to do as a young boy. So he landed in jail. And he spent a month in jail, and he came out. The judge asked him, he says, if you tell me, young man, that you're not going to continue this, and I'll let you go. But Dr. Deepak told him, no, sir, I'm very deeply rooted into this. So he's sent back to jail for another 5 months.
I did not know that. I did not know that. Okay.
So anyway, he came out, he joined one of his relatives' business, and then his family decided that he was a very brainy guy, so they wanted to sponsor him to do some real good higher studies. They sponsored his trip to the US and paid for his expenses. So he went and studied there and did his neuroanatomy and specialized in that, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So I think that he is ingrained because of his roots at an early age in Gujarat, in India. He's ingrained that into the family. Even Bonnie, I believe she used to cook Indian food regularly
Yes.
for them. And they used to
Yes,
love
yes.
sukdi and kadai
Halwa,
paneer and
jalebi.
pakoras.
She used to make jalebi. I mean, nobody can
Jalebis.
make jalebi. She used to make jalebi for them. Imagine. Goodness. So then there's also that you remember when she went into space the first time, she took samosas with her, and then she, I think, also took the Bhagavad Gita. Sunita.
Yeah. She did that, and in fact, at a very young age, they had gone to the beach, and she was building a sandcastle, and Deepak said he was very surprised to see that she had written the name Ram in Hindi engraved there on the sandcastle on the beach in Hindi. And he said it was astounding because I never realized that she would try to learn the language or at least some little part of the script there. So I think those early days and the encouragement from Deepak Pandya would have probably that would lay the roots for her Indianism.
Yeah, that is correct. So do we want to show the PowerPoint presentation now? Are you okay to show the PPT?
Yeah, I hope I get this
Okay.
screen
So we
share
have a
right.
PPT actually, ready, which we got ready at that time with her pictures as a baby and as growing up and everything. Also as an astronaut. After Sunita finished with the first space mission and she came back, Shesh, you said that she'd gone to Afghanistan. So I don't know about this part of her life at all.
Yeah, I too didn't have much information because I was trying to follow her after she came to India, she had a lot of conversations, she had a lot of video sessions with children, school children in India.
Yeah,
And she visited Hyderabad also and spent some time here. I think met the Prime Minister. And
right.
later, when she went back, that part of her life was a little not too clear. But I've heard from sources that she was from a family rather that she's been posted to Afghanistan on a mission there as a helicopter pilot.
Acha.
After she came back, she went back to NASA for training and continued her naval aviation career. That part is not very clear to me as what happened till she went on a second trip to space.
Okay.
So she's definitely part of the Afghanistan operation. Still, the US pulled out from Afghanistan.
Okay. So, so here's a question to you as a soldier, right? So, like we know that her latest mission, which was supposed to be like a week-long mission in zero gravity, unexpectedly stretched on into more than 9 long months. Actually, it was 286 days. So during that time, Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore, they went through challenges that they probably never imagined, and even we can't imagine. So, Shesh, if we were to draw an analogy with an army operation, okay, can we call the mission a success despite multiple organizational and planning failures that were evident in what happened in this mission? And in the end, just because, it just comes to an end and we say all's well that ends well, do we just excuse it, or how does that work in an army scenario?
It's quite, you can draw a parallel because in any operation in the army, this intelligence plays a major part. And very so often intelligence fails. So what do you do then? So we're confronted with surprises, with shocks. But the key thing is to introspect, innovate, and get inspiration back to action. And continue the operation till and take it to the logical conclusion. So it's not as if the end always justify the means.
Yeah.
But then in war, in civil emergencies, ultimate thing is success. Has the whole plan succeeded? Irrespective of the time it took, there is definitely some amount of collateral damage, which is not good, but cannot be avoided. So ultimately, in the end of the whole thing, it says, yes, the end always is justifiable, saying it was 100% a success.
Okay. But can you say, would you say that for this mission? Would you say that for this mission, that was it 100? I would not say that was 100% successful. From their point of view, maybe from the astronauts, they survived, they lived, they did everything. But as an organizational and a planning point of view, I don't think that we could really call it 100% success. I would not say so. So anyway, let's go back to like little lighter things. And let's talk about her love for dogs, being a dog lover myself. And I know that you're a cat lover. I can't help but talk about like how attached she was and her family are to the dogs. And I remember actually just now also, there are some, okay. Yeah, great. So let's go to this and then we can talk about the dogs. Are we ready, Akshay?
I think he needs to let us co-host. He's there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We are good to go. Great. Right.
All right. So there we have the cover of the book that finally came out.
Go on to the next one.
He can share it. Yeah. This was Sunita Williams at age 1. Nice, cute little baby. And several slides now following about as a young girl with her sister. They love to bake, swim, do things together. The whole family used to go on outings together quite regularly. There, her cycling and swimming feats and running feats. Captain of the USNA swimming team, cross-country team. Yeah, Akshay. And then finally, her start of her career as a helicopter pilot, where she earned her wings. Keep moving, Akshay. Gorby. We're talking about dogs. We'll come back to the dogs a little later after we finish this next.
Gorby.
We'll come back to the dogs later.
Okay, fine.
This was a visit to India where, she was at the Taj Mahal with Deepak Pandya right there. Dina and Dinesh Rawal is one of her cousins from Gujarat, from Ahmedabad, who kind of chaperoned them around the country. He finds a lot of mention in her messages to me. Okay. So typical Indian dress, very, very fond of this kind of decorations and alankaram, as we call it. Yeah. So she's getting her wings and very fortunate to get it from her husband to be, Michael Williams on the left, himself an aviator, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah, and then from the air to the water, she gets she was a Navy SEAL too, so she gets getting a diver insignia. It's parachute. So there's actually a lot of badges that you wear there. You wear a flying badge, and you have a diver's badge, and you have a para badge, airborne wings. After you do a certain number of flying hours, you get that, and then that was a wedding dress with a Jay and Dina. Deepak Pandya looking very dapper in his bow tie. And Bonnie. The family used to do a lot of trekking and camps together. There's a lot of bonding there. And Sunita loved to speak to students. She always used to visit her school and other schools and talk to the students, motivate them. She's very fond of the little ones. Yeah. So there she is with the school students. So these are the formal photographs of her Naval Academy, the American flag, and the family with all wearing the American flag proudly with her. And of course, the black Labrador Cole. So this was when she started a space journey and the classes that they conducted to orient them into moving to space. That's a huge, you can see the size of the people standing there and the massive size of the rockets of the Saturn V. And now she's ready to move to space with her colleagues, Joan Higginbotham, Mark Polanski, Patrick Fugelsang. Yeah. All set to move in a spacesuit for the extravehicular activity in space. So she is now ready to take off, getting ready to board the shuttle, 7th December 2006. So the final briefing, all of them are together, the astronauts going in on the space shuttle STS-116. The other girl who went with her, Joan Higginbotham, also her first time in space. And they're an Ahmed's personal carrier. So in case something goes wrong with the launch, they can quickly get into it and get away, with the protection of the armor plates. Yeah, and you have to learn to drive them. Very different from driving a normal vehicle because they're all shift stick gears. There's no steering wheels there. You shift the sticks and the vehicle moves left and right. They're checking into the ports before the mission takeoff. Yeah, you can see the size of the little white conical thing is the space shuttle, and then the booster, the thing on the booster rockets that finally sends them into orbit. Yeah.
Is that the last slide?
No, there's more coming. Okay. So she has to be helped into the launch suit. Make sure everything is right and tight. Yeah. Being held down with a gear before entering the space shuttle. takes such a lot of preparation and a lot of careful planning, and make sure that everything is absolutely perfectly watertight or airtight. So it gets the launcher platform gets flooded with water because of the heat and the surrounding atmospheric air. And the liftoff. Discovery's 33rd mission, Sunita Williams' first mission, and the first night launch since 2002, after 4 years. That's her extravehicular activity in which she set all those records. This particular spacewalk, like it says there, lasted 7 hours and 31 minutes. It's a long time to be outside when the shuttle is, when the space station is orbiting the Earth at a massive speed. 16 times it goes around the Earth in a day. Yeah, this is Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, I think the first Indian to go into space. This was a marathon. This is the exercise she does on the treadmill where, because of weightlessness, she has to be strapped down, with a isolation system, with a kind of a bungee harness to keep her from floating. So that it adds more weight to the body as she runs. And this was when she ran the Boston Marathon. She as a teenager had run the Boston Marathon on ground, and now she's doing it in space. She ran on a treadmill at, like it's 6 miles an hour, and finishes in 4 hours, 23 minutes and 10 seconds, which is amazing for even a person on ground, and for her doing it strapped down in space is unbelievable. What an achievement. Some more group photographs. Yeah. More action. Next one. Cursor stop. Okay. Yeah, there are a few more similar photographs, and that's the final photograph to the great authors Aradhika and Capt. Sheshadri.
Yeah.
And we were so young and good-looking, Aradhika.
I think we were good looking and young. Yes, well, we were young anyway. I don't know about the good looking. You were good looking.
I had hair.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I'm going to come back to the dogs now. Thanks for that. Shesh finally got it going.
Thank you, Akshay.
Yeah. Thanks, Akshay. So anyway, so now again, coming back to the dogs, even when she came back from space just now, there's like this really cute video of her when she goes back home, and the first people who greet her are these two dogs. There are these two labs, a golden one and a black one. And it's like so endearing, her whole connection with them. And do you remember who I am? Do you remember who I am? And I do remember, there was, again, when I came across, I was browsing the mails, I came across an email from you to Bonnie saying that there are so many dogs here. Could you please chronologically explain who's who? There was that who's who of the dog. So do you remember that email? Do you remember this dog called Gorby, whom she wanted to see when she came back?
Yeah. So when we were conversing, and we had made some transcripts of the book, and through Bonnie, I sent them up to Sunita in space. So she read through them and was very happy about it. And she said, I want something particularly included in it. One was about her dogs, Cole, the black Labrador, and the Jack Russell Terrier, Gorby. Obviously, I assume that it's named after Gorbachev,
Yeah.
the former British premier. So she was very fond of, especially of Gorby, and she wanted special mention of Gorby. And Aradhika, you said I'm a cat person, yes, but also an animal person. So, okay, we love all animals. Both Akila and I. We have a lot of strays that we look after here in our area. So Jack Russell Terriers are very one-person dogs. They'll move around and come and cuddle up to you and snuggle and sit in your lap. But that one person who's their boss, their friend, they will just immediately go to them and listen only to them. So I think that's she must have had a very solid bond with Gorby, especially, and vice versa. And she must have missed him very badly from space.
Because I think she said also that the first person she wants to see, I think it was that probably. That is
wanted to see Gorby the first thing when she landed.
First person I want to see when I come back is Gorby. So I think we are kind of running out of time. So we'll quickly just talk about the last chapter when she was, just talk quickly about that last chapter that we wrote when she was expected to land. Just that.
So this was, she was supposed to land on a particular day, and all the TV channels are all set to record it live.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, nature has its own way of controlling things, and the cloud cover would not permit not enough visibility for them to enter back through the through space to the barrier and get back on land. So they had to delay the landing by about 24 hours. So Aradhika and I got called to different TV channel stations. I got a call
we did.
asking me to come to NDTV. So we did a 40-minute program on that, talking about the book and various aspects. And the next day, when she was actually landing, I got called back again around midnight, back to the TV station when she landed, watched the landing live on NDTV, answered a few questions as best as I could. And I came back home at about 2:30, past midnight, wrote the last chapter on her landing, and 3:45, I mailed it to Rupa and Co. And all credit to them, 72 hours later, the book was on the stands in the bookstores.
48 hours later. 48 hours later, books was on. And there was a reviewer, R. Prasannan, actually.
72 hours later, there were no books on the shelves.
There were no books, yes. There were no books on the that was like my first and last bestseller. So anyway, so one reviewer, that was R. Prasannan, his review was, which again I came across in those hundreds of mails that I was looking at today, was that, wow, he said, the velocity with which this book was written and published must match that of the space shuttle. Sunita Williams' Atlantis touched down at 11:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time on June 21. The book was out complete with a few details about the touchdown and a color picture of the touchdown by 3 p.m. on June 25. And that chapter was all your doing, because you told me go home and sleep. I went home and slept. That was yours.
So she earned us fame and fortune.
Yeah, it was just, well,
I don't know the fortune.
Yeah. So Manju, should we stop now because we're kind of out of time, or should we continue?
Any questions?
We'd love it. We'd love it if you could continue. It's so enthralling, really.
Aradhika, so I'm just going to quickly
get everybody else on the screen too.
Yeah, sorry about the fact that there was just a glitch.
Sorry
but
for the
I'm just going to quickly do like a. Sorry, I'll just talk quickly about her interviews when she came back to Earth this time, and she returned after 9 months, and the fact that what she says about the view of Earth from space. And she's given multiple, when she came back, she's given she's very generous about sharing, and she's very generous to give interviews, especially very inspiring to youth. And when she talks to young people, or she's very funny. She's very funny. She's very forthcoming. Like, you can actually watch her interviews for a long time, because it's not like pedantic or she's nothing of the sort. It's just quite interesting, interactive, funny. So she has this really cool way of speaking to them. And one of the things that I loved was how she spoke about the Earth. And she said it's actually round. When you see it, it's actually round. And it's a living, changing, transitioning thing. It transitions at every minute. And she feels like everybody on the planet needs to take a lap around the planet and look out of the window in space. And when they come back, it'll be with a change in their perspective and the view of things. So this is what she actually said in an interview. And that's I found that really interesting. And about how India looks from space, she says, India's amazing. And every time we went over the Himalayas, she says, Butch got some incredible pictures of the Himalayas, which is just amazing. So that's what she said. And sorry?
I just want to add one thing here when you talked about India.
Yeah.
That she's more of an icon in India than in the US.
Yeah, that she was.
Prayed for a safe return. And I remember when Akila going to the US, then she was talking to students there in California. They didn't know who Sunita Williams was.
Really?
They didn't know.
Amazing.
So I think we as a country, we recognize our icons and really, role models. In fact, I should mention here that there was a fan club, a Sunita Williams fan club.
Okay.
And a lot of youngsters joined it. I'd like to mention a few names I've got written down here, and I really, they consider such a fantastic role model. They formed a fan club. They got in touch with me from Facebook and other sources. Archana Patnaik, whose wedding I attended, Sanoy Roy, Mohita, Sweetie Samantre, Shubhashri Mishra, and Sanika Sharma. Sanika is from Chandigarh, by the way.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
I had the opportunity of meeting all of them at some time or the other, and they really see her as a role model and would love to emulate her. Unfortunately, no boys.
No, no boys. That's so
All we think of
surprising.
Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli.
Yeah, okay. Right. Well, not Sachin anymore. Yeah, well, it's whatever, whoever the cricketers are. I'm not like such a great follower of cricket. You are, I know. So we just talk about Indian women in space now, and we'll, just wind it up. So Sunita was the second American astronaut of Indian heritage to go into space after Kavita Chawla, who died in the Columbia
Yeah.
disaster. We know that.
Kalpana.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Kalpana actually had met
Sorry,
Sunita.
Kalpana. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Kalpana Chawla. Yeah.
I met her
So,
at the NASA and the Naval Academy, and they had exchanged a lot of notes, a lot of pleasantries. They were friends, very good friends. And
yeah.
Sunita was devastated by Kalpana's accidental death. In
Yeah.
fact, she's mentioned it specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, she also actually said that like being with Kalpana was like just great fun. She said it was like just being with her was such great fun, she said. So anyway, but now, so my question here to you is and since also especially since you're in Chennai and near ISRO, I mean, not whatever that's worth, that with India's increasingly successful space missions and programs, do you think that Indian women are ready to undertake space missions?
Absolutely. We've come a long way in the inclusivity of women, starting from the OTA, the Officers Training Academy, which inducts for the past almost 25 years, they've been getting women cadets and training them as officers in the army. We have women fighter pilots, women helicopter pilots, flying helicopter gunships. We've got these two extraordinary naval officers, women, who are circumnavigating the globe in a yacht. So
Yeah.
I don't think there are any barriers to women breaking into space, and I really hope that that happens very soon.
That's really great. And so we just want to talk about like her being a very positive role model, would you want to just wrap this up with that? Sunita?
Yeah, she continues to inspire. And of course, when she came back from space the first time, we had this video conference with children, about 20 children at the American consulate here. And amazing interaction she had with them. And the way these kids listened to her and kind of, that kind of adored her.
Yeah.
We had a question answer session after that, and they were given prizes. So these kids knew all the answers. They knew everything about the book, which even you and I would not have remembered.
I absolutely don't
They
remember
didn't
any.
remember Aradhika was your and my names.
Right. So I think we are done now. We also just want to say that the foreword was given by Rakesh Sharma, by the astronaut, who actually is a very, very admirable figure in eyes also, and so that was like a nice thing for us. And well, that was that. And any last words, Shesh, from you?
I was very thrilled, Radhika, and so were you, when we had a person like Natwar Singh, an author himself, and the kind of background he came from. We met at Rajbhavan here at Guindy during book launch, and he was all praised for the book and said every youngster must read this, not because Aradhika and Sesh wrote it, because
No, not at all.
but the kind of person the Sunita Williams was, and that every person should try and emulate the kind of quality she possesses.
Lots of like aspiration, perseverance, strength, both for men and women actually. So her journey teaches invaluable lessons in patience and discipline and fearlessness, and I think the sheer brilliance of human ingenuity. That's what she's about. So I think we're kind of done here now. Manju, if there's anything that you would want us to do.
Some days ago, there was this message that was circulating, and I was wondering how authentic it is. This is Sunita Williams' statement to reporters after returning after spending 9 months in space. I'll just read out portions and tell me if it is really authentic or if it is just one of those fake messages. I feel like it's God's will for me to be stranded in space. When I was 20 days old, I lived as if I was facing death. When I thought about how I would continue now that my food and water supplies were running out, I remembered the Sanatan fasting month of Chaitra Navratri. From that day on, I would eat a little food. Now, is this really authentic?
I don't think they were out of food because they seem to have, I mean, whatever I've seen, not that I know, but I do not think that there was any lack of food there.
Listen
yeah,
to
even for
this.
Christmas they
While I
have.
was waiting for death, no, while I was waiting for death, I opened my computer thinking that one day I would read the Bible. I had read it many times before, so I got bored after reading a single page. Then I felt like reading the Ramayana and
Goodness
Bhagavad
me,
Gita ji again.
It
no,
sounds like
no.
propaganda to me, and especially with
Absolute
Sunita knowing
horrible.
Sunita Williams and the kind of positive person she is, impossible.
Really, it
Then
is.
there's
He would
another
not be
para.
staring at
There's another para.
Okay.
Now, some days we will be terrified to see huge meteoroids rushing towards our space station. As there was no other way, we prayed to God, and miraculously, some small spherical lights which looked like stars flew down
Sure,
and
sure.
destroyed
That's what
everything.
happened. For
Huh?
a person
I
of science,
count it
I mean,
in entirety.
for a person of science to would never write a thing like that. It just seems very.
In the month of April, as the sun was setting, a creature resembling a lion with Mataji with Trishul appeared to
Oh
descend
my
from above
Lord.
to.
ये तो मनोहर कहानियां लग रही है मेरे को. These are मनोहर कहानीज.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, huh? So this something like this has been circulating. There's one message that's come on the chat box. Many of the ISRO scientists manning or womanning the controls for a launch are women. So very soon the Indian woman will be in space too. Well, I don't know, but it's very scary. And I'm just wondering, taking the spacewalk, um, it it sends shivers down your spine. Yeah. Now, what about the others who are logged in? Would you like to come onto the screen and maybe take part in the discussion, or at least come to the screen so that we can see each other? All the participants who are logged in, yes. Ishtiaq is the one who makes the poster for us every time.
Oh, those
A
are
very
really
talented young
beautiful.
man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like such a good job, yeah.
Thanks, ma'am. Thanks a lot. I did have a question for the speakers. Can you hear me, ma'am?
I can hear you, but
Yes,
Shesh
very
is
well.
going to answer. So Shesh, can you hear him?
Yes, yes.
So I was thinking, just yesterday I saw the very unimpressive 4-minute space ride of Katy Perry and other people. I was wondering, what happens with space travel and the commercialization of space travel. Because
Yeah.
now that we talk about it in such, good terms and length and the effort regarding it, but now it has been completely commercialized, or it's the
Yeah.
starting of this. So what do
Yeah.
you like? Could you speak on that a bit? Yeah.
What they're doing is they go to the edge of space. I don't think they're breaking the barrier and going out of space. So it doesn't need too much of training or the kind of stamina and endurance it needs to go to the edge of space and back, because you're all enclosed in that environment, controlled environment. Breaking out of the thing and going to weightlessness should become something completely different. So there will be this kind of hype and commercial exploitation which cannot be avoided. Now, what really happens later and is something that's mind-boggling. It's not a very happy thought that we break out and space just gets cluttered with too many people, too many countries sending out all kinds of stuff inside. As it is, our satellites are creating problems of rubbish and trash there.
Yeah.
So it's an area of great concern for us.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else who would like to ask a question or make an observation?
Hi,
Who's that? Oh, that's Amandeep. Huh?
is it
Amandeep
audible?
has come.
Yes, audible.
Yes.
Hello, hi.
Yes,
I'm
Amandeep, please go
Selvi
ahead.
Rajan.
Audible, dear.
It was nice to hear about Williams, and is it audible?
Yes, audible.
Hello,
You're
is it
audible.
audible?
Yes.
Okay. So it was a nice thing that okay, fine. It was nice to know that so many people are following her and just worried like me. How she'll be brought back to the earth. Is it fair to do such an act and not find a solution to bring her back? How is it possible? Is it a planning or as a typical film? No, my imaginations went far and wide. And like a hero, I was just feeling how about contacting ISRO to just find a vehicle to bring her back? What went wrong in that way?
Radhika?
They could have
Like,
contacted others who are capable of bringing her back, no?
I think actually the American government and the space agency there, NASA, did the best that they could. They probably must have even contacted. Finally, it was the SpaceX, Elon Musk SpaceX that went up there. It was a matter of grave concern, and finally they did. But the main thing is that one, they were completely equipped. Secondly, they were being helped by the astronauts and the trainers here as to how to survive there, how much exercise to do, how to manage their lives there, because I think they were doing the exact same exercises that the astronauts were doing here over there. So in that sense, that they were well looked after. There was lots of food and everything, all the machinery working fine and all. So I think they did their best, and finally that they've come back to Earth in spite of all those multiple organizational failures is a big thing. At one point it seemed that it would not happen, but they are back. So, something went right, obviously.
I'll add to that, Radhika, saying
Yeah.
that anything, this is a machine.
Yeah.
Any machine, whether it be a scooter or a car or any sophisticated machine, has its own possibility of failure in some way or the other. So to blame any organization or a group of people for that is not really it's not correct. And I think even when you join the army, you might go to war. So when you fly into space, you may not come back.
Yeah.
So these are risks that are imminent and known. Right? People take these risks and go. So I don't think we should attach too much importance to this. Is my take.
And the thing is, she's back. The thing is, they're back and all safe and sound, and all reuniting with the dogs and stuff. So all is good. All's well that ends well. Okay, here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, we can call it a day.
Thank you,
And
Manju.
yeah, once again, I ask everybody who's logged in to switch on their videos so that we can have a screenshot. It will be nice if we can have a screenshot. And